This is the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. I'm Ty Higgins. Research and development is key in agriculture, whether you're talking about new varieties or traits of the seeds we plant or new technology we run through the fields. R&D is so important, even when it comes to adding value to our commodities. Joining us this week from the Ohio Soybean Council, Jerry Bambauer. And Jerry, when you talk about R&D and what you're doing at the Ohio Soybean Council, there's a big project going on just north of Columbus in Delaware called the Arable Research Lab. What's the history behind this and how's it grown since its inception?
It's grown tremendously, and we're really getting some great feedback from a lot of industry partners. It's a really valuable part of the Ohio Soybean Council and the research and development of products from the soybean itself. We probably started this about 4 or 5 years ago. We hired an individual, Barry McGraw from Battelle, a number of years ago, and he kind of headed up our projects. What we do in the council is we get our funds from the checkoff, and then we distribute them out, and we're in the process of having outside organizations do research for us. We would figure out a project we wanted and let them do the research. Well, Barry was very instrumental in Battelle at doing our projects for us. So when we hired him, he was really enthused about working with this. And he came to us with an idea about 3 or 4 years ago that we would have our own lab. He developed the name for it and stuff. And we looked different places to get it. And he ran across a lab space at Ohio Wesleyan University. And we were very fortunate. Evidently, they had some extra space, and Barry had a good relationship with them, and they left us use that. And as we started there, we were fortunate. We were able to come up with 2 or 3 scientists or engineers, chemists that we had with our organization. And then we were able to hire some interns from the university that were in their chemistry program. So it worked out well for us and also for the university. And then we had their facilities that we were doing there. In the beginning, we probably had a challenge coming up with projects other than our own. The council had certain areas, and Barry had ideas of what we could do to improve the use of soybean oil and soybean meal. But still, he was out in industry trying to find industry partners to work with, telling them what we could do, how we could do it, and what the advantage would be of theirs to have us do this work. So in the beginning, we struggled there. That has tremendously changed in the last 12 to 18 months there. So we worked through that. The big thing that Barry sold us on is when we do a research project, we have so many dollars dedicated to that project. Regardless if it works or not, or how good or bad it was, this project would last us anywhere from 4 to 8 months, 10 months sometimes. And the dollars that we gave them were used up. Sometimes even additional dollars were asked for. Barry said, if you let me do this lab, I will be able to work these projects. The nice thing's going to be, I'll take this project, work on it. It may take 4 to 6 weeks. At that point in time, we should have an evaluation. Is it going to be valuable? Is it going to work, or is it not? And at that time, then we reevaluate, he reevaluates, and either it's killed at very minimum expense. Say we had $50,000 dedicated to it. It may take $5,000 to $7,000 to get it. And then boom, it's gone. Take our research people, go to the next project, take the dollars, and we can do extra products there. So we've been very fortunate in that respect. We grew from this 3 to 4 chemists at the time, and then we had a couple interns that were doing our public relations work and stuff with us. Now we have 8 full-time engineer chemists that we have on staff. We're looking to expand that. I think we have 3 labs there, and possibly we'll be able to in the future come up with another lab for more space there. And if we do, we'll be able to initiate extra people coming into our lab there. The one person we're looking at bringing on is a chemist and an engineer there. The other one is there for project development. So what his job will be to work with industry, find out what they want, how we can do it, and then he'll develop these projects and do the book work and that for us. And Barry won't be expected to do all these things there in the future. So we've done that. As we've come along in the last 18 months, we had this project going, and we've told everybody in the soybean world, as far as the commodity groups and that we are doing this, and we now have Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, and Michigan helping work with us, giving us funds for that. They almost match the funds that Ohio puts in it, and we're doing research for them. Possibly Barry, in the back of his mind, says maybe we'll be able to set up some satellite laboratories in different states. So it's really going great. Everything's working out there. In addition to the financial support, as far as being the research, we also do work for Kentucky and North Dakota, where they have projects that they're considering awarding funds for. And Barry and some of the staff members go over the different projects and recommend to these two states what he thinks would be good, worthwhile projects and ones that maybe they shouldn't do. So he's out there also helping in that respect. So one of the things that we talk about in our project, I told you to start with, it was a challenge getting people to come to us. We had to go to them. Barry said in the last 6 months, a number of companies have come to us and said, okay, we've got this idea. Can you do this? So instead of us finding them, they've heard about us and they're finding us. And the companies that we're doing work with are also repeat companies where they're coming back for a second and third project. We have companies in the US, we have a company in Australia and one in Brazil that we're doing work with. So it's well-rounded, and it's really interesting being part of this organization.
You mentioned you have the right people in place, you have the funding in place, and you kept mentioning 12 to 18 months. You've really got this ball rolling. 2022 is full of success stories from the Arable Lab.
Yeah, we had, and I know I'm a little ununderstanding, you would say, on some of these processes, but we have 2 provisional patents submitted this year. So, and as I understand it, we're in the process, we've submitted it, and we're in the process of becoming a full patent product that we put together there. And we've got about 12 different commercial projects going all the time. We have 25 companies we're doing partnerships with here. So it looks very interesting. And I know we've got some exciting things coming down the line.
Yeah, one of the most exciting things that you and I are going to be talking about is working with a Fortune 500 company with something that came out of this arable research lab. Stanley Black & Decker, you helped them launch a new soy-based retail product last year. Tell us about the partnership and how you make sure the products outperform competitor brands.
Well, I think basically they came to us, and I got to say this, if we ever are going to have green research, today's the day to be doing it. So, everybody wants to be basically organic green products that are renewable and that are really comfortable for our environment. So we've been very, very fortunate in having the right process at the time. DeWalt came to us with their petroleum-based bar and chain oil and said, can we change this to make it a better impressionable product out here in the industry? And we worked with them putting a soy-based lubricant in there instead of petroleum based. I've been fortunate. Barry's had some product there that he's seen and used and gave it to us. And we personally used it and we really like it. It's a really good, high quality product. So DeWalt has been very helpful to us. He also has a soy-based degreaser that they're using in that. So it's going good. I can't tell you that much about that as far as personal use. I have not done it, but it seems to be going good. I think he's in a number of, DeWalt is in a number of the big trade stores that they've got this product out there. So it's going good in that process. And I know we've got a number of new things we're working on with industry and our own. We still do our own projects. If we can figure out something that we really think would be good, we'll develop that, and then we'll go to industry and say, okay, we've got this product, here's what it looks like. If you're interested, we'd be willing to work with you. So we've got a number of new things coming down the line in the next 12 months.
Also read in your publication about Arable developing a soy-based scale inhibitor. Talk about that a little bit.
They came to us, and I may be off a little bit, but I would say a year ago, November or December, January, they came to us with a product that they thought would work for them in the oil and gas industry. and said, can you do something? We think this would work. And the company's name is LFS Chemistry. And they came to us and we started working with this. They think, and I know they're in the patent process there, and they think that within the next 6 to 12 months, they're going to be very prominent in the oil and gas industry. And what it does a little bit, it's a product that they put in the fracking material as such, and it goes down in and comes back up the pipes. And I was never aware of the fact that there's a lot of scales and calcium hooked into the edge of the pipes that restrict its flow in and out. And what this product does, it eliminates the ability of it to build scales on the pipe. So we have 100% efficiency of the pipes that are going in and out of the gas and oil industry, and we don't have any restrictions in there. It looks really good. We hope that words that came to us, maybe 1 million to 2 million gallon of this a year, would be a product that would be coming down the line if everything goes. It's called Reactive SCC, and it's from a farm to wellhead, and this is the commercial name for this product.
All we've talked about so far adds value to a soybean, and that, of course, is beneficial to soybean farmers across Ohio and across the country. But how is what's being done at Arable Research Lab helping small and mid-sized businesses?
Well, I think we're trying, it's the green part of it. And what we're working there with is a number of small companies that have come to us and said, okay, have you got a possible product that we could work with? This is what we have as an idea. This is what we have as a thought. And can you do this for us? We'd like to see this. Sophia, I think is how you say it, SOFIA, multi-surface cleaner, is a product that is soy-based, and we put this together for them. It looks like it's going to be a very good cleaning product. It is used on all hard surfaces. So this is where we're at in that respect, getting a hard surface cleaner. We have also a product with gearhead fifth wheel grease. They've always had and it's kind of comes like almost like a Brillo, size of a Brillo scarring pad, but what it is grease, and then it has an outside wrapper on it that holds the grease in place. You actually drop it on the fifth wheel of the semi, and then it just kind of works its way in. Well, what we've done is we've changed the content of the grease and the wrapper there, and we've gone from 60% soy to 95% soy in this product, and we've been able to increase the variability of the outside wrapper, that it doesn't stick. It's in place when you bring it out of the box and you put it on there. So it's been very beneficial in that product, and it looks like, and the different people that we've had use it, it's on the market, and it looks like it's going to be a high quality product for them.
A lot of success in 2022, but the research at the Arable Lab continues, of course, through 2023. What are some of the new soy-based technologies we can look for coming out of Delaware?
Okay, we've got a catatonic surfactant. Looks like it's going to work as far as a cover for the oil and gas industry. I know we're kind of challenging the oil and gas industry, but it's still a vital part of our country. We do some work with cosmetics. It looks like it could go in there, and another, coatings on some hard surfaces there. So it looks like it's going to be a quality product there. We've got a corrosion inhibitor. We've worked on this for probably close to 3 years. It looks, and we started developing it for possible military use, and planes, ships, and a lot of our military equipment is close to the salt water, and it's very corrosive. And they tell us what we hear from, at least from Barry, like even the planes, they have to clean them about once every 6 to 8 weeks and make sure that they put a coating on there that inhibits any of the corrosion for any of its parts. What this product does, it's a soy-based, and it looks like it's going to meet that need. We're working with that with the military and think there's a great possibility of something going there. We also have a company that has come, it's one of my friends actually, that sells product into the water conditioners, towers, and that for heating and cooling. And I was telling him about this, what we were doing with the military, and he said, why can't we use this in water towers? So he works for a company called Danco, And we're working with them, trying to do some experimental work. We're hoping that possibly in a number of the new installations, they can put that in to start with, and it'll be a vital part of keeping the corrosion out of the water cooling towers or heating towers and whatever they use there. And also that we can put it in existing ones and see how it works there. And if this would go, I know he says it's a tremendous cost for new construction and not to put the corrosion resistance onto the metal that's in these towers. He said if this would work, it would be such a simple job and so much easier to work with. So he's excited about it. We're at the point, I think we are going to put the product to them and try and find someone that's willing to do the experimental work to see once how it works, if it works, and what we can do with it. So we've moved that right along. Another one that we've got now is it's a shrink reducing additive. And what we think this will work with is putting it in concrete. The big challenge in concrete, when it changes and processes, it shrinks, it cracks, it moves. And we're hoping that this product will reduce the shrinkage of it and helping to reduce the cracking of the concrete. So something new coming down the line. We'll see once how it works out and do it. One thing I guess that we were neglected to say, we've talked about soybeans on everything here. Barry is in the process of talking to the National Corn Growers Association and saying, okay, you've got products out there that you have, and we would like to do some research on your products to try and develop new things for the American farmer as far as from the corn product. So we're working with different commodity groups and trying to do research for not only soybeans, but anything that's grown on the farm that we can help to develop new products for them. So I think this is a huge benefit. I know we're asked a lot of times, what do you do for the soybean farmer? And how do you do it? And you get these funds, what are you doing with it? So things like this that we're helping to develop the confidence of our farmers and agriculture people to see what we're doing with our funds, how well we use them, and how we can develop new products that the industry is going to use and still really benefit the farmer. A number of years ago, they came with the biodiesel, as we would talk back about 15 years ago. And I think at this point in time, they're talking 60 to 70 cents a bushel, just additional from the biodiesel. But each one of these products we put together, and if we can get it going, we could really increase the consumption of the soy products and work with that. So that's what we're trying to do, the best job for our soybean farmers to maximize the amount of opportunities and to best use their dollars that they let us use.
Typically, research and development in agriculture done at the national, even international level, but the Ohio Soybean Council taking matters into their own hands with an arable research lab in Delaware. Jerry Bambauer with the Ohio Soybean Council. Really appreciate your time and insights, and looking forward to an update later on this year.
All right, Ty, I sure appreciate being part of it, and I love telling the story of what we're doing for soybeans.
Jerry is a great leader at the state and national level. And coming up after this on the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast, we'll talk to another Ohio farmer, Steve Rinehart, who is taking the lead as vice chair of the United Soybean Board. We'll talk about what's happening at the national level with soybeans coming up after this.
Find out how Nationwide Agribusiness can help you grow your business. Get to know the people with the experience and knowledge to help you. Whether you are looking to protect your farm or ranch from the ground up, or need someone who understands your changing commercial ag needs. Find out how to better manage the risks of your ag business, or how quickly you can get back to business. Learn how you can protect your next with Nationwide on your side.
Had to go all the way to San Juan, Puerto Rico to visit with an old friend from Bucyrus, Ohio. Steve Rinehart serves as the vice chair of United Soybean Board. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, Ty.
Not bad weather behind us here either.
No, it's a lot better than Ohio, and we should have been here 2 weeks ago. That's
For those who don't know who you are, tell me about yourself and your farm.
Sure. Steve Rinehart. I farm in north central Ohio with my brother. we farm soybeans, corn, wheat, and hay, and it's been a great livelihood, and done a couple other things in my life too, but that's one that always kind of brings you back, and it's fulfilling, I guess, to see plant that crop every year, watch it grow, and then be able to harvest it. Currently, I serve as the vice chair of the United Soybean Board, and we're really looking forward to kicking off our year with getting our investment portfolio ready and getting ready to implement that for fiscal year 2024.
Yeah, that's why you're here. You are on a national board, and Ohio has a rich history of leaders, not just with soybean, but also with national corn growers. We just have a knack of getting people to those leadership positions. Why do you take such a role? Because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of travel, as you're here in San Juan. Why make all those efforts?
Well, I think it's one thing I've always been interested in, and kind of got the bug when a few years ago when I was in the Ohio legislature, and we were working with renewable products back then, and through kind of looking at how you can put together a state purchasing program and stuff like that, and really then when you get into the soybean efforts, which I've been on the Ohio board for quite a while, and new uses and biofuels, and that is all just really taking a lot of interest and popularity, and the technology's there now, and it's just really been interesting.
The uses just continue to grow. We know that you're working with Goodyear on tires, and we'll get into the fuel aspect of it in a bit. If you don't know, elevator oil is made with soybeans. A lot of things in your car, like that seat cushion, is made with soybean products. The innovations just keep coming, and that's because of investment.
Yeah, it's because of the investment that the farmers make, and we want to make sure that we're returning that investment back to the farmers. And our checkoff program, we recently did a study where for every dollar we're investing in research or promotion in education, we're returning $12.34 back for that investment. So it's been a really good cooperation, and we have to do that study every 5 years. And so we'll do one a few years from now and get another result. But it's really been good, and that's what we need to do, is continue to make sure farmers are happy with the money that they're investing, and the soybean checkoff is run for farmers, by farmers, and in returning that money back to farmers. And we like to think that we can come up with a solution, soy solution for every life, every day. And we try to build a resiliency and reputation and diversification through the different projects that we work on.
Innovation, investment, all key, but really all that is for nothing if you don't have the infrastructure to move these things down the line. And we've had a lot of challenges. We have supply chain issues. We have, of course, still the pandemic. There's some lasting effects of that impacting how we get things from point A to point B. How's your industry been impacted by what we're seeing in our society today?
Yeah, so we just saw the record low levels of the river system in the country, and it's been very hard to navigate. A couple years ago, the USB did institute a study lowering the Mississippi River by 5 feet. We took it from 45 feet to 50 feet, and that's allowed us to secure money from the Army Corps of Engineers and Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, and we've been able now to add about 13 cents to a bushel of soybeans for that. We think it's going to return about $461 million back to the soybean farmers, and allows us to load those ocean-going vessels with about 500,000 more bushels of soybeans. So it's really helped to move that supply chain around. And we have another group that we work with, the Soybean Transportation Coalition, that also helps institute all these projects. And then we have two other recent projects. One is working on lock and dam number 25, and we again did a study and analysis to see what we'd have to do with the Army Corps of Engineers and Soybean Transportation Coalition and other state soybean boards to upgrade that lock, and that secured about $713 million from the Army Corps. And then the latest one that we just did this fall is the Port of Grays Harbor, which a lot of our beans in the northern plains will go out through the Port of Grays Harbor, and we just did a big project with AGP. They're going to expand their meal export facility there, and that's going to gain about $25 million from the U.S. Maritime Commission. So we're really looking at infrastructure and making sure we have it beefed up We've worked with the Class 1 railroads to make sure that when these new soybean crush facilities come online, that we have the ability to move soybeans in, but then also move meal out and keep them moving. And that was kind of a pinch point, we've had in the last several years with the rail, and that's why it's important to make sure that we have all these moving parts, working kind of in harmony to keep everything moving the way it should and not have those bottlenecks.
I mentioned the thousands of products that come from soybeans, but the one most people might know about than any other is biofuels. We're hearing a lot about renewable energy. Soybeans been a part of that conversation for a while, and especially when the price of fuel and diesel went up, people are looking for alternatives, and biodiesel has that alternative. The RFS came out a couple of weeks ago from EPA. What were some of the takeaways as far as the soybean aspect is concerned?
Well, I think that I can't speak a lot to that for we don't deal with a lot of those government figures like that, but we're just trying to promote soybeans in that biospace. We have a lot of our industries and our farmers are using a B5 blend. We use a B5 blend on our farm, and then some of them are even pushing up to a B10, and that's replacing 10% of the diesel fuel with a soybean product, a renewable product that's going to burn cleaner and then provide a better environment. And I think one of the big places then we also want to push the biofuels is in the East Coast, where we have a lot of homes that still use fuel oil for heat, and we think we can also clean the environment in those places as well by putting that soybean blend in those bioheats as well.
There's always that debate, that food versus fuel debate. People want to make sure that they're going to have food on their table, and when you create more opportunities for soybeans, those soybeans go to other markets. But there's a study out there that proves that there's plenty of soybeans to go around.
Yeah, we just recently did a study with Purdue, and through that study, I mean, they're looking at the increased use in biofuels, and we're looking at the price of groceries in the grocery store. And so over the last several years, actually 10 years, I think we've seen the use of soybean oil for biofuels quadruple in that time frame. But really in the last 18 months, we've seen a big increase in grocery prices. So it's been a concern for the frying oil market, the baking products, they're using a lot of those oils. But then also the good thing is when we crush soybeans for oil, we also get meal. And one of the things that the Purdue study is looking at is the meal going to feed the livestock, poultry and other livestock. The cost of those proteins are actually able to come down a little bit. And so it's kind of helping, that consumer and their consumer price index. And so that's been a good thing for, soybean, and we're not trying to get away from the fact that some products are going up, but overall, I think we're able to see at least a neutral to maybe a slight decrease in the price of the food dollar that people are spending. And so that's been something that we keep a close eye on, and we want to make sure that we have that sustainable solution for people and to use every day in their life. So
before I let you go, I mentioned that we live an hour apart, but we're down in San Juan, Puerto Rico to visit about this. You sit on a national board for soybean, and you're here at the American Farm Bureau Convention. Why is that relationship between AFBF and your organization so important?
Well, I think if you look at anything that we don't do anything in a silo. So everything we do, we have some sort of partner with us, and we're here today sponsoring the media room and make sure that you have some place to go to have your interviews with the other Farm Bureau members and talk about all their issues. And I'm a Farm Bureau member from Crawford County and do a lot of Farm Bureau activities there. And so it's just another instance of how we, cooperate in the agricultural world and work together. And one thing I would be remiss if I didn't point out my Skechers tennis shoes, which use the same technology in the soles that the Goodyear uses in their tires. But no, we're here to have a good time and be able to be a part of the solutions for agriculture and working with Farm Bureau, the National Corn Growers through MOU with the National Pork Board. It's all everybody working together to make everything work efficiently.
If we get those brief showers, you're not going to slip on those. You're going to be just fine, aren't you?
Yeah.
Steve Rinehart, Farms in Bucyrus. He is Vice Chair of United Soybean Board and joining us here at the American Farm Bureau Convention in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Thank you so much.
Yep, thanks, Ty.